welcome. Thank you for taking the time as we were sitting up here and it was crickets. We're like, please, people come and listen to us. We're gonna be fun, we're gonna be sad, but you're gonna learn some cool stuff. So, obviously my name is Cynthia Culhane. I am a 49-year-old mother of 4. My full-time job, I'm a realtor. So my journey started, I feel like a lot of things in my life just kind of by accident. I find things out about myself. I won't get into all the other things that you probably don't need to know about today, but this particular journey started for me in a very odd way. So I was getting a massage and my brother-in-law is my RMT, and when I was laying on my stomach, he was massaging my calf and he said, wow, I can feel your pulse through your whole body. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, that's weird. And because I've always felt that when I laid on my stomach, I didn't know that it was weird. And so we didn't talk about it at all anymore. A couple months later, I had my annual physical with my doctor. And she's going through my blood results and saying, oh my God, you're so healthy, this is perfect, this is perfect. And then I told her about this conversation or this moment in time with my RMT, and she said, well, you're in your 40s, let's check your heart. And so I went for an ECG first, and it came back with LBBB. The cool thing is most people know what that is. Left bundle branch block. I literally have no idea what it is because it became irrelevant. But so she called me back in and told me that she'd like me to go for an echo. She said a lot of the time it's something you're born with, but let's just make sure, because it can be an indication of heart disease. And again, she's like, I can't imagine you would have heart disease, but let's just rule it out. And so we set up an appointment, and of course I'm like, I can't cancel it because I'm fine, I'm healthy. I work out 6 days a week. I always worked out. I don't drink. Okay, a little bit of red wine. I'm not gonna lie, and a little bit more since my heart diagnosis. I'm not gonna lie about that either. But regardless, always worked out, always ate healthy. So I'm thinking I'm fine. And so she happened to follow up with me. I'm lucky, I have a very great GP, and I've heard a lot of stories that aren't as great as mine, but she said, I'm just checking, okay, checking on time, because I don't want to steal everybody else's. So she called me and said, Cynthia, did you go for that echo? And I said, no. She's like, please, I want to know that it's good. And I said, okay, no problem. Mm-hmm. So I book it, and sitting in the room, I don't know what to expect. It's an ultrasound on your heart from a layman's perspective. I don't know what that means, but this nice little Asian girl was doing it, and she seemed rather uncomfortable, but I thought maybe she's new, didn't think much of it. She goes away, she comes back, says the doctor needs a couple more pictures, takes a couple more, and then this man with the deepest voice, if you don't know him, Dr. Stuart Hutchison is my cardiologist. He's literally a saint walking this planet. Came in and told me, he's asking me questions like, you teach yoga? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, how long before you have to quit? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, before you get dizzy, or how often are you fainting? And I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he says, well, you've got a pretty serious heart condition, and you're gonna need to get to a cardiologist. And I literally said to him, Cynthia, right? Like, do you have the right name? Because I thought for sure he was talking to the wrong person. And he said, no, I know who it is. And so a couple MRIs later, an angiogram later, it's idiopathic is what we do know. Or don't know, I guess. So the thing a couple of things that I want to make sure I get out is, one of the things that I've encouraged people, this was 5 years ago, coming up 5 years, it'll be November that I had an ICD implanted. And you read the stats, and the very first thing I read on Dr. Google was, oh, you got ejection fraction problems with your left ventricle, you're dead in 5 years. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, I'm not reading Dr. Google anymore. I have a 1-year-old at the time, right? So understand, from my perspective, what do I have to do to make sure that I'm gonna be alive for this little guy, right? We all have our histories. I have histories with my family, with my mother, and I've always had mother issues, and I thought, for God's sakes, I don't want him to have that. I don't want him to not have a mom. So it was fast forward into, let's get this ICD implanted. And and of course it was a little bit delayed. They tried to push up my meeting with the appointment with my EP, and I just got on the phone and I said, I need to see this guy. Like, all I want for Christmas is an ICD, right? Because this is in November. I'm like, I'm getting this in before Christmas because I want to be here. And so, again, like, this story is so long, and to summarize it, I get it. We say installed, but it's implanted. But we always say installed for some reason. But they calibrate it. They make sure everything's good. I stay overnight. And in the morning, they kind of go, okay, we're good. And they kind of pat me on the bum and send me off. And I'm like, okay, well, now what? Like, what happens now? And you know what? Nobody asked me how I felt. Nobody asked me about if I had care at home, if there was going to be somebody to help me with my son. Should I be left alone with my son? He's one. Am I safe to be with him? And the support for the ongoing journey, that's what we're here about today, right? We're going to continue that conversation. One thing I've told everybody, and I'll wrap it up, is after the shock and awe of my diagnosis, and I get this thing installed, including my family and my friends, and they are fabulous. I'm surrounded by a great support of people. But the one thing I notice is that everybody else's life goes back to normal, except mine. And people forget, right? Oh, I got it here now, but my life has changed forever. Thank you.